Good morning, viewers. I am Miju Chopra, Director of the Cavalier. We are back with our podcast and we'll be discussing many facets of SSB as we go by. Today, we are very fortunate to have Colonel DN Sharma with us. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
And he's the GTO with the Cavalier and he's done 2 tenures as GTO, as senior GTO with Allahabad and before that in Bangalore. So today I want to discuss the very first thing in SSB with you, and that is when the candidates go, they have to go and fill up the PAQ form.
So,
And over the last 20 years, I've seen that a lot of students have a lot of doubts about it. They probably go and mess up their form there, they leave out certain details, or if they put some wrong details, which carries a bad impression eventually.
Sir, as I am both a student and teacher, should I mention in column 9 that what is my personal income and what is my occupation as a teacher or as a student? Should I be mentioning both or anyone?
Section 11, they are asking about the participation in games and sports. So, is it necessary that if I'm interested in cricket, if I write it, then I need to mention that any certificate I have get from there?
Sir, in point number 5, column number 4, it has been written that your mother tongue. So, my mother tongue is mix of Hindi and Punjabi. So, what should I write here?
Sir, in the nature of commission, we have to tell about the name of the wing we are joining for, or either temporary or permanent commission.
Sir, as chess number 1 asked about the cricket, I also played cricket. So, my man of the match and man of the tournament awards are also could be considered as my achievements.
So in column 9, it is written present occupation and personal monthly income. So I am a student, so should I write my pocket money as my personal monthly income?
In the class 11th, I was the head boy of the school, and back in the class 10th, I was the group captain I was the house captain of my house. So should I mention that in the column 11D?
Okay. Sir, how do we distinguish between the hobbies and interests? Also, if I've been part of yoga, which was in under 14 category, so that's like a long time back, 6-7 years ago. So, should I be mentioning about this? And my awards were being part of the Open Nationals. So, how should I be going about it?
So first, to begin with, what are the instructions that are normally given to the students when they, or to the candidates when they come to the SSB?
well, sir, firstly, a candidate must realize the importance of personal information questionnaire, and it is explained at the selection center also that it's an important document. And please remember, this document will create your first impression to the interviewing officer. So please think, what kind of impression would you like to make on your interviewing officer? A good impression or a shabby impression? So our advice to all the candidates is that please fill it a little deliberately, take a little time in filling it. It should be in a legible and neat handwriting. Preferably, a candidate should fill the PIQ in block capitals so that it is easy to understand.
But as per the PAQ form, it's only listed in the name that they should write in block capitals.
There's no harm in filling other details in block capitals. For example, your address or your educational qualification. If you fill it in capitals, it will be easy for a person to read, as well as in case someone doesn't have a beautiful handwriting, it will compensate for that to
So
some
overall,
extent.
the entire pattern should be in capital, preferably.
Yes, preferably.
Preferably, right. And what are the other instructions that are generally given to the candidates besides
Use
this?
only black or blue ink,
Okay.
and do not fill any misinformation which can stand against you, or
I mean, probably telling lies or
yes,
they're trying to,
exactly, sir. No
they'll
false
eventually
information.
get caught in that.
Yes, especially in the interview, a person is likely to get caught.
Right.
So,
So
that should be kept in mind.
So that is that's the basic idea that they should have.
Yes.
So right, starting from the very first column, over last 20 years, I've seen, candidates asking you various questions. Of course, your name is fine. The next thing is that is father's name.
It
We
should.
we
Yes.
have a lot of time students whose parents are not there or his father has expired. They have a doubt whether should I put this name there or not. How is he supposed to tackle this?
Yes, it's a very simple thing. If the form is asking for the name of the father, it must be written. Unfortunately, for some candidate, if the father is expired, then prefix late should be added. Also, a word of advice that whenever you write the name of your father, it should be with proper title. Uh, like we address our father as Mr. So and so. So the
Mr.
use
or
of Mr.
Shri.
or Shri, it should be used. And in case your father holds an official designation or a rank, especially from the armed forces, please mention the rank.
But if he's in the civil, he will not write engineer so and so.
No,
He should
no.
just go for Mr. or
That is not an
Mr. or
official
Shri.
rank given to a person.
Yes. So they should. It's only in the defense forces
Yes.
or in the paramilitary forces where you can suffix this rank.
Yes.
Not otherwise, right? So that's one important thing that the students should be very careful with. The second is that when we come to the address column, it has got the present address, maximum residence, and there are 4 columns here, and there are a lot of people who have just one address. So
Yeah.
they've been staying there permanently. They've never been out. So how do they fill this part?
So let's take both the scenarios. In one scenario, a candidate has got all the 3 options applicable. So first is the present place of your residence. So it is, in fact, all the 3 choices are self-explanatory. Present place of residence is where you are living right now. Maximum place of residence is, let's say a person's father had a transferable job. And in that scenario, that particular candidate spent certain number of years, which happens to be the maximum period of his stay at a place.
In fact, I wanted to share this with you that
Sir.
one of the candidates here itself,
Sir.
when he wrote the address, he writes C73 Shardapuri, the Cavalier, because today is present here.
So that will not count. That will not count as the present address. Yes, because it's a very temporary, very short duration stay.
Yes.
For a hosteler, let's take the case of a person who's doing engineering from a college. He's going to stay in that college for 4 years.
Yes.
And considerable period of time is spent in that hostel. That can be the present address of that person.
Now, what about the people who are from the defense services? ACC candidate or a
Sir.
SL candidate. Now,
So for them,
they have
present
this
ad-
doubt
Sir.
that I cannot disclose the location of my unit. So what does he write?
So, see, we are a military, I mean, the SSB is a military establishment. They will understand. So, name of the unit, care of so and so APO, as the
He's-
standard form of
Suppose
writing
he's
the military
posted in
addresses.
Bhatinda. Let us say he's today posted in Bhatinda.
So,
Can he write, say, 25 Punjab Bhatinda or something of that sort?
that would be incorrect form, because if he's not supposed to disclose the location of his unit, then he should use the correct military address as we put it on the military mail.
Yes.
So, it would be 25 Punjab, care of 56 APO.
Right. But then the next thing comes is that he's being asked about the population. He's been asked about various. Now, which population does he talk of?
So, population of that place, Bhatinda only.
So eventually he has to think
Yes.
about Bhatinda and not
And-
his unit per se.
Yes, not as a unit per se.
So that is what, especially
Yes.
ACC candidates, make sure that you do not mess up in this. A lot of people come and just say, okay, I'll give the strength of my unit or the cantonment. If it is a town or a place, you should be giving details of that when it comes to population and other things.
Because
Right.
he's not confined to his unit lines. He gets adequate time
Exposure
and
otherwise.
exposure of the
The
entire
idea is not
cantonment
to
of
get
town.
the address, but to be able to get his exposure levels and
Yes.
to, what really to ask him.
Yes,
It
sir.
is not more of an address seeking form.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of people, especially students or candidates whose parents are in the defense forces or on a transferable job, now they have this issue. Sir, at one place I was for 3 years and 1 month. Sir, I was but the other place I was for 2 years and 9 months. Now, which one do I put?
So
They're
obviously
very close to each other.
So obviously the greater figure should come here.
No, but see, he's done 3 years and maybe 2 months when he was in class 4th, 5th, and 6th. But he's done 2 years and 9 months when he was in college. Now, where should he be going?
So again, the option is
As a wisely kind of.
it is self-explanatory. It is not by recency, but it is by actual time spent at a place.
Okay.
So the
he
place
lives in
where he
Gotham.
spent
Because this
more
is one question that people ask me.
Yes.
Sir, I was very young at that time. I have no idea about that place. But when I'm in college, I can talk more about it. So should I just do this or do that? A lot of the students ask us this question.
No,
How do we
it
deal
is
with
it is not the chronology, it is the time spent.
Right. But does it affect the way he's being going to be questioned as far as, in the sequence of questions that are asked by the interviewing officer?
Not necessarily.
It doesn't really.
Not necessarily.
Right. Okay. So, and permanent address is permanent. There is no.
There is no ambiguity about it.
Whether district headquarter or not, what do you do about that?
Sorry, sir?
There's another thing, whether district headquarter or not.
So the person filling the form, the candidate, should be absolutely clear whether the place where he is living is actually the district headquarter or not. For example, a person living at Allahabad, so Prayagraj.
So
Prayagraj
that
is
is
the
the
district
permanent
headquarter.
address, not
Yes, sir.
the permanent wala.
Yes.
So in Delhi, what does he write?
So Delhi has got 7 districts. So he has to
So,
choose which districts he's part of. East
so
district,
this is
West
the kind of
district.
questions that we get here.
Yes, sir.
So he'll have to be
He'll
little
have to be specific about
specific
which
about.
district he's part of.
Does it have any relevance as far as this address is concerned in the overall interview?
From the awareness point of view, how aware a candidate is of his environment. Naturally, the interviewing officer is going to ask him questions related to his place of stay or place of residence, especially where he's living right now.
Okay.
And the candidate is supposed to be matured enough, have enough knowledge about the place where he's living.
Okay, there are students ask us again, sir. We've been asked here whether SC, ST, religion. They're asking us this. Does it have any bearing on my?
No, sir. Let me share something very interesting about the SSB. Assessors don't take these personal details into consideration, and they have a very objective view of the candidate. They are not influenced by any caste, any background, or any special consideration.
So can we say it's more of a just a data collection?
It is data collection for subsequent use,
but not really
not
meant for the
really.
interview.
It doesn't really matter in the interview. as
Another
such.
interesting thing that which I've observed here a number of times is a student will write general category in brackets below income. What do you call that?
BPL.
They start doing that also because they think they'll get some kind of a consideration. I mean, should they be doing this?
It is not required because the form is not asking it. This will become evident when the candidate mentions the income of his parents.
So he shouldn't be
So
trying
he should
to
not, yes,
trying to
he should
get any
not-
kind of sympathy or
Because
something.
the
by
interviewing
doing this.
officer is senior enough and mature enough to know what income falls in the BPL category.
Yes.
So,
Right. So in case now here it is whether your parents are alive or not. Of course, there are not many questions here. So there are some candidates whose both the parents have expired. So in the he has to give them in the dates. He has to give separate for mother, separate for father.
yes, you should write separately for
Especially
father
for
and
SL
mother,
candidates, and now you have
Yes.
this kind of thing.
and then mention his age at the time of demise of
So
both the
separately
parents.
mother, separately
And
father,
separately
in case
for
both
both.
of them have expired. So you
Yes.
should give it separately.
Yes.
Right. Then is of course about his education. As with your experience in the SSB, have you seen people messing up here or not doing the things in the
Yes,
right manner?
and a lot of times it happens because of the CGPA system being followed
Yes.
by certain institutions.
So they do not have the right formula to convert.
Right formula, they should get the right figure from their institute, and usually it is specified on the mark sheet that if they're using CGPA to grade a student, what is the conversion for percentage.
Okay.
So they should remember that formula and apply it.
What about outstanding achievements here? Now, a lot of
Let's
people
say
say, sir, I'm a very good sportsman, or sir, I so and so. Should that come here?
No, in this table number 7, serial
yes.
number 7, it is only about academic record and not about other activities. So they should restrict themselves only to the academic
That
achievement.
means highest marks in maths and so and so.
Someone has
or in
topped the
district.
school or board, or
But
someone
what
has
about
got
if
a
somebody has
position.
done this maths Olympiad or any such, kind of a quiz contest which is one? Can he bring that here?
That will form part of extracurricular activities, because participating in maths or science Olympiad is not part of the regular academic.
Regular. So he should not fill that here, or she should not fill that
That
here.
will come in the extracurricular.
It is purely highest marks in Sanskrit in the
Yes,
school or something.
that can be an
That
outstanding
is
achievement.
that is outstanding. What about being a prefect or something in the class?
That also will come in the extracurricular activities section.
Subsequently, but not
Yes,
here. So it
not
is
here.
purely that.
Yes.
Right. And border day scholar, it really doesn't matter. Some people have at times they come and say, "Sir, मैंने सिर्फ 2 साल ही boarding किया, फिर मैं उसके बाद में, I."
Now let's say a student has been in boarding school from class 6 to 9, but for class 10th,
He was in.
he
now
was
what does he do?
a day scholar. So here specifically for class 10th is asked, not for earlier classes.
So he has to specify it's class 10th, class 12th, where he was
Yes.
at that given time.
At that point of time, and for that examination, whether that student was a day scholar or a boarder.
Another query which graduates have, that
So-
is, sir, it is asking boarding or day scholar, but he stayed in a PG. Now what does he say?
So PG can be considered as equivalent of a hostel.
Yeah, it's basically that
Yes.
he's not staying at home.
Yes.
They don't have to really go by the word of it.
Yes.
So if
Yes.
he's not staying at home, then he automatically becomes
Automatically he's staying in
board.
some kind of hostel or equivalent accommodation.
Right. Now, there are some people in this, there is graduation and post-graduation. There are some people who are doing this dual degree.
So,
How should they attempt this?
so this dual degree usually at the time of culmination or completion is a postgraduate degree. Then it should come in both the columns. You can mention, I mean, the candidate can mention that he has done what program was it?
The 10, the
An
3 plus 2
integrated program.
integrated program of
An
LLB or any such thing.
integrated program. So they can mention integrated program and then mention it in the PG, post-graduation.
Post-graduation,
qualification.
right. And
Because
still-
ultimately that is the degree they'll be getting.
Okay. Now, there is a candidate who's done class 12, then he's gone
Yes.
for a diploma, and then he's gone for graduation. Now, what does he do now?
He can put an asterisk because diploma will be equivalent of graduation. So
No, he's done a graduation also.
yes, so mention about the graduation in this column 7.4
Hmm.
and
Yes.
put an asterisk here
And then write it
and
below.
write it as a remark below
Okay.
that he has also done a diploma at that level.
So that's what the candidate, and they
Yes.
should not do mistakes here. Now,
Yes.
same thing about their family.
So
Now, starting with their father and so on and so forth. Again, the same question. In case the father is not there, he's
So-
expired. Now, it's in the father column. What should he do? It's
So that-
education as well as occupation.
the status of father will appear first here, whether alive or not. 6A.
Yes, and even on late,
and
so and so.
yes,
Huh.
and subsequently income and other things, occupation will come later on.
Yes.
6C.
Right. But as
Right.
far as father's education is concerned,
That
he's
can
no
be
more.
filled.
Should he leave it or should he put the
No.
education?
He should fill the education
Yes.
and fill the occupation also. But
Also,
as
what
of
he
now,
was doing before he expired.
before he expired.
It is basically to know what his father was
Yes.
doing and not exactly. And of course, in the income, he will write not applicable. Because
Not
it's
applicable
right.
because there may not be a regular income. In case there is a pension which the mother is getting, that should come in front of the mother because that is being earned by the mother now.
Now, then we are talking about mother. Some mothers are otherwise housewife, but they're having rental income. Now, he will write housewife in occupation. In
Yes, sir.
income, what does he write?
Then he must write the income.
Now, there's a confusion between the two. He's writing housewife and then he's
He
writing.
can
in
explain it.
Huh?
If asked, he can explain it.
So that means he should write the rental
Yes,
income, not
because that
give
income
it.
is there
And
with
if
the
the
family.
entering officer wishes to ask, he can clarify
Yes.
there. But that is the way he should fill it.
That's
Fill
the
it
way
as
should
as a housewife or a homemaker or whatever the phrase they
Yes.
want to use, and then
Sir.
give that. Like then we have this questions of here elder brother and sister and so on. Now there are only 2 columns there for elder brother or sister. The
Sir.
person has 3. Then what does he do?
Again, like we talked about diploma and all, just put an asterisk. And in
Yes.
case there are any additional details
Yes.
or this space is not adequate, then that
Or
information
maybe
can
if
be
he has
quoted
only
here.
one younger, cut off the younger one and put it there.
And it can be corrected.
It can be
yes.
corrected.
It can be
That's
corrected.
another one. That is a
Yes.
possibility that he
To
can
make
do.
additions here, absolutely no problem.
Right. So that is the way you can cover it. I'll
Yes.
tell you of a very hilarious thing which I've noticed a number of times. If they don't have an elder brother, they write not applicable.
That's actually not the correct way.
So
They should
it,
they should just put a dash there.
dash or a nil
Yes.
rather than not
Yes.
applicable would have a very funny
Yes.
connotation,
Yes.
which
So-
I keep telling them don't do such
So-
things because it raises a
So-
lot of question. So they should understand that there are different
Yes.
words. Not applicable is something different. Nil is something different.
Yes.
And nil and none is also they have synonyms almost, but they have different connotations.
Connotation.
A lot of people
Absolutely,
don't
sir.
understand the connotation and inadvertently put something which is wrong, which will not go against them, but I suppose it sounds to be very hilarious.
Yes.
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 Okay. So same way, in case he has more number of brothers and sisters, he can put an asterisk. and
Yes.
put- Now, generally in the case of NDA students, their younger siblings are studying. So in occupation, what should he write?
Student.
He just writes student,
Yes. sir.
right? And that's okay.
Yes. sir.
Now-
Absolutely.
And his elder brother is a graduate or a postgraduate also, but not earning anything. Now, what does he do there? He's not studying also.
Yeah. You can't write student then because
Then what does he write there?
then he has to write unemployed.
Or would it be if he's studying for any competition exams, let us say he's preparing for his civil services or something, then should he in that case,
No.
can he write student?
How can that be student? Because
Because
this
he's
is
studying
not
in some institute.
It's not a regular academic course which will
Mhm.
give a degree at the end of it or a
Okay.
diploma at the end.
Right.
So it cannot be taken as a student. It's
Okay.
just a
So
preparatory
then in
institute.
that case, you should write that. So
Yes,
these
sir.
are little things which, I mean, they don't go against you, but if you understand these things, as sir is saying, it shows that you're a more matured person. You
Yes.
understand, and it
Yes.
gives a better feeling. So, I mean, these are the practical things which are there, and
Sir.
there are a number of students who ask us questions. In fact, I've got some questions on the video also of the
Yes,
students
sir.
who've asked us.
Sir.
I'll be sharing also those with you as to what the questions are.
Sure.
And when we go on to the next sheet, my experience here in 20, most of them have majority of the space as blank. They have hardly any interest, they have hardly any hobby, they have curricular activities भी कुछ खास नहीं है क्योंकि 11 12 में पढ़ते रह गए.
Sir.
So if a person is blank everywhere, I mean he's not done much, what should he do then in that case?
So there's something very interesting about it, sir. It is sometimes maybe out of modesty or maybe because of immaturity that students leave it blank. In today's scenario, it is simply not possible that a student has not participated in any extracurricular activity. In fact, good
कुछ
schools,
किताबी कीड़े होते हैं कुछ नहीं करते. मैं तो
I
सिर्फ कोटा में
agree.
गया, कोटा में सिर्फ पढ़ा और कुछ नहीं किया.
I agree. But then they must have done something in their regular school, no?
Uh-huh.
The schools usually take care of this aspect
they
that
should-
they involve all the students in one activity or the other.
But the
If nothing else,
so
maybe
he has
in
to dig in a
dramatics.
little bit and see, try to see
Yes.
what he's.
So they need to focus, they need to put a little pressure on their mind and recall that have they really participated in some activity and then mention it here.
Right. Now
It
there's a
makes
bit,
sense because if you participated even in a very simple activity, at least you were part of some
some group or somewhere you've
group
done
or
something.
you've done
And
something constructive
try not
besides
to
just
leave it blank altogether.
yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Now
At
it's
the
a very
same time, sorry,
inadvertent kind of a mistake which a lot of people make here is in the height. It is asked in meters
it is specifically asked in meters.
and they write as 175 centimeter and centimeter भी नहीं लिखते आगे.
Yes, sir. So
So-
correct form is 1.75 meters.
So they, I mean, it's a simple thing, but it'll not really kill you or do something, not fail you. But then be little more careful when you do something. And
Yes.
similarly, when you're writing weight, just don't put 75 there. Just put
75 kilograms.
kgs.
Yes, sir.
And so small little things, they add up to your showing that you're a person who comprehends things in a much better manner. And now another typical question which is there on the video also,
Sir.
present occupation and income, and this one, people who are in the school, they're doing some coaching or they're doing some tuition with somebody.
So
People who are in college, they are doing some, in McDonald's or somewhere, they're going and working somewhere. So it's a dual kind of thing. Student also and maybe little learning also. Now, how do they word it here?
yes, sir. Now the case here is that primary occupation of the
There's a question there on the, I will just show you.
yes,
One of the students has asked this question.
Yes.
I'll just show it to you and maybe you can answer it.
so the primary occupation of this candidate is that he is a student. So
Yes.
first should appear student, put a comma, and then write a tutor or a teacher, whatever part-time thing he's doing. Now that he's working and the income, monthly income is asked for, the approximate income that he's earning must be mentioned there with the occupation, the secondary occupation that is.
ये एक typical question from serving people who are serving, especially in the defense forces or otherwise, is sir, gross income then net income then?
It should be gross income. It should be gross
वो
income.
basic की तरफ चले जाते हैं.
No,
हाँ,
it should be gross income.
gross income.
not
They
net
should, right?
income.
Understand? There is a difference between
Yes.
net income, gross income, basic income. You're expected to give your gross income and don't get yourself confuse yourself in things which are really not required. So, but then these kind of questions do come. Then NCC, of course, is nothing really much here. Those people who've been to
Yes,
NCC, they can
now
ask.
it
So, if
is-
he's not an NCC student, he's written here in 10A that he's not done in any NCC. So, what does he do? Niche, he writes nil, or what does he do?
Yes, he doesn't have any other option
Yes.
because if he's not been an NCC cadet, so the first response will be no.
No.
That is in front of
Right.
10A, and for B, there is a table below.
Yes.
The first column of the table should be either marked with a dash or nil.
Or nil. Nil may be a little better because
Yes,
it shows that he's being right.
yes, sir.
Now, one of the trickiest thing which a lot of people mess up on is the sports.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I have never represented my school, college, or I have not played at a professional level. And so, should I write? Should I not write? If I write, then I will not know anything about it. So, what should he do? I mean, everybody is not a professional.
Yes, sir.
So, how does he deal with somebody who's represented is fine, but
Sir.
somebody who's just played in Gali Mohalla mein khela, usse zyada khela hi nahi, what does he do?
So for these kind of candidates, if you see, The third column, it says represented school, oblique college, oblique university, oblique others. So if he's been, let's say, in his society's team, a group of friends have made a team, he can mention that. That option is given to him.
Okay.
Or if he's played for a club, he can write for that club.
But if he hasn't done it, just थोड़ा बहुत खेला है, ऐसे ही बैडमिंटन लगा खेल लिया थोड़ा बहुत.
That now it will depend on the level of competence he's got in the
Now
particular.
he's scared.
If
So
person,
मैंने थोड़ा बहुत खेला है, नहीं लिखूं तो भी प्रॉब्लम है, लिखूं तो he'll ask me question, the interviewing officer. Now
Yes.
what do I do about it
so you should be truthful that I have played, but with my friends.
with my friends?
I have not participated in competition.
But then is he expected to know something about it? Can no, he can be blank.
Definitely.
Sir, मैंने तो casually खेला, मेरे को कुछ पता नहीं है. Can you say that?
He's expected to know certain things.
Maybe up
the
to
basic-
what level? I mean, what are the basic things that if
The
he's
basic
not a,
rules, the primary thing to play a game is the knowledge of rules.
Right.
So basic rules should be known to the game that he has
Right.
played, of the game that he has played.
and maybe any tournaments or something which
Yes.
recently maybe national level पे
Yes.
कुछ हुआ है something.
And something related to the current situation of that sport at state or national level, that kind of information is required, because if you are keen on certain thing, you will definitely have some basic information about that activity.
Now, I have seen number of times people writing athletics. Sports में athletics लिख देते हैं.
So then in that case, the student must, or the candidate must be very specific. Which event of the athletics?
Same thing goes with
Track
running.
and field.
He just write running. He will not say 100 meters, 200 meters, 400 meters.
So
And
being,
same thing is
being
athletics.
specific will be much better.
So, I mean, that's not a right thing to athletics is entire
Yes.
Olympics.
Yes.
So, what should
Yes.
he be writing?
The specific
sport.
sport that he has.
Right, maybe short put or whatever.
Yes.
And even it is running
So,
specifically, and even it is swimming.
so whether it's
then
short
should be-
distance,
हाँ,
sprint,
yes.
or middle distance, or
Yes.
let's say hurdles.
Yes.
So type of running that he has done, if it is if he's specific, it will be that much.
Same
more
with
beneficial.
swimming.
Yes.
Same as swimming, that you should be saying doing butterfly or whatever. So
Yes.
that should be very, very specific and not just cover it with the broad
Yes.
thing, which a lot of students do, and then they, they really don't know how to deal with it subsequently. So that's okay. And outstanding achievements, he's not won any medal or something. What does he do? I mean, let's say he's participated in inter-school or inter-something, but कोई medal नहीं जीता आज तक. Then what does he write?
Then it has to be left blank. If
No.
there is no outstanding achievement.
So nil.
Nil.
But what if he's been a captain or a vice captain? Will that come as an achievement?
It will come as an achievement, and also it will appear at 11D.
But here also can
It can come
nothing
here
wrong
also.
to add
Nothing
that
wrong.
because he's
Nothing
been becoming a captain is an achievement.
Best sports person,
Best sports person or
or
something like
man
that.
of the match, or captain of the team, it can definitely come. Vice captain of the team, it can definitely come here.
Now, from a lot of boarding schools like Sainik School, military schools, students have done n number of games. थोड़ा बहुत सब कुछ खेला. He said, मेरे पास तो sir, I've got a list of 10 games.
So
Now, how should he deal with it?
So the maximum.
They would have played everything somewhere or the other.
Let's go by the maximum amount of time spent on a particular sport and competence level achieved in a particular sport. The higher the competence level and
But
higher
he
the
says,
time
sir,
spent,
जगह ही
they
नहीं,
should
मैं तो मगर खेला तो मैं 10 हूँ.
So again, he can put an asterisk here if he wants to mention all of them, and then can.
But advice would be कि जो दो तीन ज़्यादा की हुई
Yes.
हैं, उसमें
Yes.
करे, not that everything is
Yes,
that.
it is very common to find a sports person playing basketball and handball
Yes.
because of the similarities of the skills required
And
to
in
play
any case,
both
the
of
interviewing
those.
officer as a knows के सैनिक स्कूल वाला
Yes.
ये वाला है तो उसको थोड़ी और आती हूँ, but he'll
Yes.
concentrate more on the 2 or
Yes.
3 that he's listed on, which are his best.
So, which are his
Right.
best.
So instead of cluttering up the whole thing,
Yes.
he can, and then in the interview, the person can cover.
So,
Right. So we've got level of participation. No, it's on the video also. This question on hobbies and interest.
yes.
The student has asked. I'll just put through his question to you.
So,
You can listen to it and then probably answer him. The gist of what his question or which question that we find here is, firstly they're confused between hobbies and interest.
so
Where does an interest end and where does a hobby start?
okay, sir. So, very simple way to understand it is that for a hobby, something is done, some physical activity takes place. Let's say a person says, my hobby is photography. So, for that, he must be taking pictures. For taking pictures, he must be
आजकल तो
having some
मोबाइल में you're
equipment.
clicking everywhere, so everybody will have this hobby.
But then, for making it a hobby, there must be some special considerations.
No, I have
Hobby-
a mobile. I keep clicking everywhere. Now, is that a hobby?
It may not
Everybody
be
does it.
considered as a
Everybody
hobby.
takes selfies today.
Yes, it may not be considered as a hobby.
So then
Why,
that is the
when
question.
it will be considered as a hobby is that what is the special consideration for clicking photographs?
Maybe
Is
he's doing sceneries or
sceneries,
uh,
nature, or maybe
insects or
pictures.
something.
Yes, sir. Or maybe animals,
Or maybe
wildlife shooting.
he's got some camera, he's bought a camera.
Even with the mobile, if somebody is pursuing the hobby of photography, there'll be something specific about it,
And
something
not that he's
periodic about
trigger
it.
happy. वो नहीं है.
Yes, that is not a hobby.
That's not a hobby.
That
This
is impulsive
right.
clicking anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah, so similar thing comes music.
Yes,
लगा हुआ है कान में.
but
and
that
I
is
listen
not a
to
hobby.
music.
It is just entertainment and
But he says मैं तो सुनता हूँ.
fine. Then what kind of
So
music
how do
does he
we
like to listen?
distinguish between somebody who's got listening music as a hobby
Sir.
and just kind
A
of
person
noise?
who pursues a hobby goes into the little depth of that activity. For example, what type of music does that person like to listen to
Maybe
as a hobby?
classical है या
Classical
jazz
है,
है.
jazz है, or let's say someone is fond of or has a hobby of listening to rock,
Yes.
right? So, what about how many bands has he listened to? Is he categorizing them? Is he grading them?
So
Is he making albums of
बहुत
particular
casual जो कर
bands?
रहा है वो नहीं आएगा. He has to be a little more serious. Maybe he has
Little
to
more
invest
serious.
his time, money, resources if
Yes,
it is
sir.
a hobby. And
Then it
without
becomes a hobby.
investment,
Yes, sir.
it is not really considered to be so.
Yes, sir.
And if he wants to put it, then he has to study about it.
Yes,
Now, a
certainly.
person has an interest also, hobby also. What does he do now?
So, like I said, that in a hobby, something happens actually, and it may be in physical form. In an interest, it may not be in a physical form. For example, someone is interested in collecting information on warplanes or fighter aircrafts. So he's got a lot of information, maybe stored on some hard drive, but he's not actively involved in doing something about fighter aircrafts.
Okay, right.
So now I hope a student will be able to distinguish between what is a hobby and what is a
So in case he's
interest.
got both, then he can write hobby so and so, interest
and interest so and so. Absolutely.
separately,
Yes.
rather than messing it up together.
Yes.
Right. So once we are done with this, then of course comes the extracurricular activities, which is a big area of confusion. Most of the people do not understand ECA,
Yes, sir.
right? At times people write, my hobby is singing.
So
But when we ask them further question, it turns out कि stage पे जाके college के 2-3 बारी उसने जाके किया हुआ है.
sir.
Now where does this fall now? He's singing, but he's singing only अपने group में जब करता है. Now does he put it in hobby or ECA?
It depends on the nature of the activity. If he's done it as a part of a formal program in an educational institution, which is other than academic.
Yes.
The name itself says extracurricular activities, other than curricular activities.
So if he's doing it
So
something
if
as a
he's
group,
done as a group
and he's not
and
too,
as part of an institution, whether a school or college,
and generally
then
these groups have a name.
they have
उनका
a
कोई
name.
ना कोई नाम होता है
Yes.
करके.
So it could be a choir or it could
हाँ,
be
yes.
otherwise also solo
And they
singing.
give this colleges में their drama societies and the other societies, they have a
Yes.
specific name also.
It will have a specific name and he should code that.
Right. So if a person has just been maybe singing as a group in the college, so that it is better to put it in ECA rather than go to hobby, because there he's not investing so much of
Yes.
there.
Yes.
So that is where the
Because-
distinction
yes.
can come in, where is ECA में. And of course, the part of उसकी duration is one more interesting thing which I keep getting, especially in ECA. So he's taken part in a play or in a short skit which was 15 minutes. So he writes duration 15 minutes.
That is incorrect because he was in Dramatics Society or Dramatics Club for a longer duration. The final event happened only for 15 seconds. So it is the actual time spent as a member of that group or that society.
So that means the
That should
academic years that he
Academic year. In terms
maybe
of
he started
academic
the second year, and so he writes 2018 to 2020.
Yes.
Or some,
Either the
same thing
duration or the time period during
and
which.
maybe same thing applies in the column of sports also. Duration,
Yes.
90 minutes football match.
No, that is incorrect. Because he spent or invested much more time
Yes.
to play that 90-minute match.
So again, there also it should be the academic year.
Yes.
Maybe
Usually the academic year.
like there's some sports like gully. Say I started playing gully mein cricket.
So,
Then I went to school. I participated there also.
Sir.
Then I
That
went to
means you
college.
became
I
part of the
improved
school
and I
team.
did that also.
Yes.
But I've been playing it since class 4. Now my duration क्या दूँ?
So start from class 4. And as of today, how many number of years you've played that game? Because it was the building block. The
Yes.
initial gully cricket that you played You started from there and you did not discontinue in between.
Okay.
So actually you started in class 4. That means when you were about 9 or 10 years of age. So counting from 10th
So
year of
that
your
means
age
from the
up till
time
now.
मतलब करता है, and if
Yes,
he's
sir.
improved at his level, it's different, but he can start
Yes.
from there, not necessarily.
Yes, sir.
There are some students who have this another question. Sir, I played till the school level. When I went to college, my college did not have the sport, but I कभी मौका मिलता है तो मैं जाके खेल लेता हूँ ना. What does he do?
Now, if he's not playing regularly as part of a team, that period should be excluded.
Excluded.
Yes.
But if he gets a chance, he goes and plays.
That is not called, regular
There'll not be continuation.
team play.
He'll not be team.
Yes.
So he should finish it there
Yes.
and not go anywhere further.
Yes.
Up. Right. And then, of course, position of responsibility that he's had in NCC or anything.
Yes, sir. If a NCC cadet has held a position or a rank in the NCC, or as a sergeant or under officer, or any special designation was given to him to organize something as a team captain or as in charge of something, that must be brought here.
A lot of candidates ask me, so when I write that I was maybe a prefect or I was a captain of my college school football team, what questions can be asked of me? What does he
Related to his
expect?
responsibility
What does he
primarily, and
yes.
any special instances. Let's say a boy was a prefect or a girl was a prefect, and during that time, some school function was organized, and a major responsibility was given to this prefect.
So
that must be brought up.
that should
Yes.
be reflected.
Yes.
Or when the person took over as a captain, there are a lot of students who come and ask me, sir, when I went to my college, they did not have basketball, but we influenced the management, and because of me, the basketball court was put up there, and then we started.
If
And
this
he wants
kind
to
of-
tell me that. How
So-
does he, kind of come across to tell that through the PIQ form?
If a person has been so pioneering that he could get a new activity initiated in his institution, it can be mentioned in this place. Position of
Position of
responsibility.
responsibility. Yes.
Yes, sir.
That he was in charge of creating a new
Yes, sir.
basketball court or something.
Yes.
Right. And then, of course, is the nature of commission. A lot of people, mistake in that also. What are the common mistakes that you've observed here?
In the nature of commission, instead of writing about the commission, people start mentioning about the service they want to join.
Yes.
It very specifically asks that whether you applied for permanent commission
Permanent or a
short service.
Which you know. When you applied, you know.
Yes.
So you just have to see what
So you
applied.
just have to write whether permanent
Like
commission.
NDA would all be permanent.
Yes.
IMA all would be permanent. You don't
Permanent.
have to think about it.
Yes.
But then engineering entry में उसमें short service आता है, या
Yes.
फिर JAG entry में आता है. There,
Yes.
the nature of the way they filled the
Even in
form.
CDSC, short service commission is there.
Yes, in case they're doing that,
Yes.
OTA, in that it is short service. Right. And the next one we have is choice of service. Now,
So,
there is an
yes.
NDA student who's put Air Force, Navy, Army choice उसने डाला हुआ है.
Yes, sir.
Now, he is presently going, first choice तो Air Force डाला था, but Army की SSB आ गई है. अब इसमें choice of service में क्या डालेगा?
In case his choice of service, first choice in his UPSC form was Air Force, but now he's called for Army,
Army.
he should still write Air Force.
He should still write Air Force and
Yes.
not mess up the whole thing.
Not mess up
The
the-
next question he will ask, sir, if I do that, then I will say, why have you come for Army? Why have you not gone for Air
because
Force?
he's been nominated to go to the
He's
SSB.
been called there. It is not by
Yes.
his choice.
Not by
So
his
he shouldn't
choice.
get too worried
So
about
if he wants to play safe, then he can put the same choices as is put in the UPSC form.
UPSC. Yes.
But if it happens to be the same as his first choice, then he should leave it at one choice.
As one choice only. So that's
Let's say he's opted for Air Force and he's going to AFSB. He's got his first choice. Now there is no reason for him to mention Army and Navy.
okay.
So he should leave it at Air Force,
Right.
choice of service.
And then, of course, is the number of chances that the person has taken. It will include the screened out and
As well as
both. It
Yes,
is not
both.
only right, both.
Yes, sir.
And now a lot of people forget their chest number or the board they had gone to. Now what do they do?
So
भूल
they-
भूल गया, नहीं याद है, क्या करूं?
So they must at least write the date of their SSB. And the date will be taken as the conference of the SSB.
Okay. So
So
conference
that
date, which
conference date.
उसको डेट भी याद नहीं है. उसको सिर्फ सर मई में याद
At
है.
least month and year he will
हाँ,
remember.
so that is okay.
Yes.
There's nothing very sacrosanct about it.
And now that a candidate is preparing to go for his SSB, he must dig out the details before going there
हाँ,
to furnish this information. Especially a repeater should not show casual attitude towards such things. When you know that this information is going to be asked and you're going without it, it is uncalled for.
So maybe chess number and all, it'll be difficult to find
One
out.
odd detail that person might
but
forget.
otherwise, if he
but-
doesn't remember, it should not give a wrong information.
Yes, and with the batch number, the date is also specified. That this batch number, what was the date?
Right.
So whether it is date of commencement of the SSB or whether it is the date of conference, that particular date must be mentioned here.
So we've seen a number of queries that students have generally been asking me, and I put it across to you. And we have some more questions which have been sent to us by students through various means of videos and all. So I'll be flashing those also with you, and you can
Sure, sir.
maybe answer those. Thanks a lot, sir. It's been
It's
very
my pleasure,
nice
sir.
to,
And in fact, students must not hesitate. A lot of time there is some shyness or some hesitation in their mind about asking a question. They must come forward freely without any hesitation and clarify their doubts, so that they don't make any mistake and they can give a good presentation about
even
their
while
own
at the
content.
SSB, they can go and ask the officer concerned.
Yes, of course. When the
If they have a
instructions are
doubt.
being given,
Ah,
if you have a doubt, please clarify it.
Rather than giving wrong information.
Yes, absolutely, sir.
Right. And this is almost his Janam Patri at SSB.
You can call it that.
Starting from the day one that he's there
Yes,
and till the conference,
Yes, sir.
this is going to be referred to. If
And-
that be the case, then let it look good, let it look
And,
beautiful, the way sir has told you.
And the PIQ helps you build a good platform to make your interview a success.
In the sense that interviewing officer, before the candidate comes in, he's going through this and he finds it totally messed up. Even before the candidate arrives, he has a feeling that kaun nikama aa raha hai.
Yes, sir.
And but if it is very beautifully filled up, then he may not say he is a very intelligent, but at least he's neutral, he's wanting to
Yes,
receive you.
Yes, sir.
So then why have that handicap of filling up a form badly? And what about a lot of people have this, they write something, then they cut it, and then they write again, galti ho gayi sir, dobara nahi mila. What do you do about that?
So a person should go well prepared. Now you know that what are the points which are going to be filled up in the PIQ. Prepare yourself well. There's no harm in carrying out one or two practices. Fill up forms before going there. And do not make your form shabby. Please fill it up cleanly in a neat handwriting and create a first impression which is good.
So we can take up the questions that are there on the people have sent us on the video. And so I'll request you to answer those. Thanks a lot, sir, for joining us.
Right, sir.
And it's been a pleasure. And I'm sure we'll have more podcasts with Dean Sharma, sir. He's had very long tenure as GTO twice. And the advantages that you can draw from his experience, which is personal experience, is much better. We'll not be doing teaching here. We're just going to be discussing things with you because there are n number of videos on teaching. Here we are going to deal with you on a personal level, where we'll tell you what happens in the SSB and what kind of things are experienced by the GTOs or by the interviewing officers. Thank you for listening. Have a great time.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.